What's up, guys? You're listening to the Raptors 905 podcast. We are back and we have a new face with us. We have Selena Singh and we also have Ashton Smith, our Raptors 905 assistant coach that will be joining us on the podcast. Selena, we already sat down with him. What was your takeaways? And also, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Sav. Thank you so much. I'm so pumped to be here with you. Always doing an incredible job. So thank you so much for having me be your co-host. I'm so excited for this episode. I really enjoyed talking to Ash about all things, Raptors 905, full circle moment to coaching now, from being a player to his travels around the world, to, all of the other experiences growing up that made him, who he is today, and the player and coach that he is.
Absolutely. And Selena, just real quick before we get to the Ashton interview, just a little tidbit about yourself. What do you want the people to know?
Well, thank you so much, Sav. I'm also an in-arena host for the Raptors 905. So if any of you are ever at a game, please come and say hi. Would love to, get that energy going and really have all the hype in the arena.
Amazing. Okay, let's bring in Ashton Smith. Ashton Smith, 905 assistant coach this year, now joins us. Ashton, what's good? How are you feeling? How's the first week of season so far?
What's going on, guys? I'm good, man. We got 2 wins in our first 2 games, so everything's gravy over here. It's good.
2 amazing wins. Such exciting games. It was so great to be a part of it.
For sure.
Ashton, you're trying to give us white hair, though, because the second win, what was up with that?
I'm not trying to get you white hairs. I wasn't on the floor, so we got to talk to the players about that one. But it was a good win. We found a way to win. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. A win is a win. So we're going to take it, we'll learn from it, and get better.
I mean, you just touched on something right there in the fact that you weren't on the floor. Once upon a time, you were. And so we're going to get back to that, but we actually want to rewind the clock just before we get to your time as a player on the 905. Talk to us about your generation of basketball growing up around Toronto. I believe you're from Scarborough, am I right?
Yeah, you already know.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. For the record, I'm from the West Side. So you're from West Side too, right?
I'm West Side too, so I'm Saga.
Thank you. Saga City.
Yeah. Saga, Scarborough. I mean, we're like, yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with the basketball scene, Ashton, that you grew up with in the high school years. Obviously, there's Eastern Commerce, there's West Hill, Henry Carr, Pickering, a lot of powerhouses. So, do you feel like your generation really paved the way for this next gen? I just want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, most guys in my generation will say that. That's the general consensus.
Boost.
Yeah. I know, honestly, I do think that we were, my era, I guess, guys that were kind of born 89, 88, that year, we kind of were the last crop before basketball really got really big in Toronto. So I would say that we have some kind of influence. But obviously, there's guys from before, like Denham, Jay Shep, those guys that were 3, 4, 5 years older than me, who kind of laid the foundation. We kind of took it and made a name for ourselves, and now the next generation is kind of reaping a lot of the benefits. We see a lot more guys in the NBA, a lot more guys playing high level D1 basketball and overseas. So, I mean, I feel like it's all of us, but I feel like we were the last we just missed the cut.
And in talking about, paving the way for this next gen, do you have any words of wisdom or any advice from your generation and all of the talent that came out of that?
I mean, just stay involved in basketball. I think the guys from my area, we have a lot to contribute in basketball, and I kind of feel like it's kind of hard after you stop playing to kind of figure out where you're going to go into, what the transition is. But I would say just stay involved in basketball. I started just coaching kids, training kids as I was playing in the summers when I was home, and that kind of allowed me to see this path to coaching afterwards. So just trying to stay around the game.
It's not that often that we get homegrown talent now back involved with the home franchise. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of curious to hear some memories. Take me down some memory lane a little bit in terms of your high school career here in the city.
I mean, it was way different than it is right now. That Henry Carr, West Hill, Eastern, Pickering, the powerhouses, high school basketball, actual TDSB, TDCAA, those were actually the team. Now it's OSBA, it's a lot of prep schools, so it's a bit of a different scene. But man, a lot of talent, a lot of battles, a lot of Jarvis tournaments, a lot of big time tournaments that like everybody comes together. You probably don't see most of these guys during the season because we're different districts, but those tournaments in Hamilton, Silverthorne, Pinky Lewis, all those big time tournaments were like you got to really get to go against some of the top talents, see what you're made of.
Even just hearing you talking about it, sorry, Sav, it feels so nostalgic. Like, Sav, I don't know about you, but hearing these names and like just thinking of even like Pinky Lewis, I was like, oh my God, I remember we were talking about this before the interview, just talking about, you know, like my dad used to take us to Eastern Commerce and we used to go watch games, and the energy in there and just watching, you know, tournaments and games, like it just, I'm sure it's such a different atmosphere now that, you know, prep schools are a thing, and the organization's changed a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but honestly, I think it's growth, you know, it's growth. A lot more guys are getting exposed, a lot more exposure for these kids. So anything that's trending upwards for basketball in Canada, I'm cool with it. I'm not one of the old heads that are, you know, hating on the younger generation.
Back matter.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you'll get there someday, but I'm wondering, does any like particular memory or game stand out to you that was like kind of defining for you?
One game that I always remember is we were playing at Jarvis, and we were playing against Corey, DeVoe, Dwayne Smith, Javal, that Pickering team that was like fully loaded, and it was down to the wire. I think we lost by like 2 or 3 points, but that was, like you said, just in that gym, that Jarvis gym, you know, it's just like, it's like on top of you, right? And it was packed house, West Hill versus Pickering. It was like, it was insane. It felt like the spectators were on the floor. It really did. And I haven't seen any really environment like that, you know what I mean, in these upcoming years, but hopefully there's a way that you can get back to that feeling.
Such an old school gym too. And like Selena, to your point, it's so crazy to me to think that like even Eastern Commerce, like a basketball powerhouse, like it closed down and no longer exists anymore. Like
that's crazy to me. It just like it feels like a part of your, you know, whether it's your childhood or your teenage years, just kind of gone. It's like that was such a massive part of basketball and just growing up within the sport and this community.
Right. I agree.
And you know, going into as well, like obviously you had a ton of talent in your generation, but what did you look at in terms of the NBA? Like, how did you find the NBA really shaped your career, both growing up like in high school and then playing in college, university, and now in your professional career? Like, what did that kind of league have on you? Like, what kind of impact did that have?
I mean, everything. The goal was the league, right? For everybody, the goal was the league. So just watching like AI was big time. Obviously, Kobe, like those guys coming up were like, yeah, you got Kobe in the back, RIP. But like, NBA was everything. As I played high school, you wanted to win OFSA, you wanted to get a D1 scholarship, you wanted to play in the NBA. That was like the path that everybody wanted to take. And it's just funny as you get older, the numbers drop off. You know what I mean? The numbers drop off. Every year that you go up, there's less and less hoopers, right? And then it's only the guys that who really love it or really committed. Sometimes it's just a bad break. Guys get bad breaks and they don't continue. But every year there's less and less guys. Oh, you don't hoop anymore? Oh, you don't hoop anymore? You don't hoop anymore? It's just, and these guys just fall off. Guys that you thought would be hooping forever just stop. So I'm just blessed that I was able to continue to play, go to university, play pro. Didn't make the NBA, but I got to play for a ton of years, and it was a great experience for me.
I was just gonna say, because one, Selena and I were talking about this before we got on air here, like just arthritis in our knees and stuff like that.
Injuries, all the injuries.
But you know, Ashton, I really want to know, like, walk me through what your basketball career was. You know, like school by school, you know, moment by moment that really stood out to you.
So I actually started at Agincourt Collegiate. That was my first school. I went there for 2 years, 2.5 years, because I was doing extended French.
Wow, good for you. I'm impressed.
All français, so you pay for the rest of the interview.
No.
He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I started that in grade 7. In grade 7 and 8, we did extended French, and then my mom said I'm continuing, and she forced me to go spot for like the whole summer. Like I was not trying to go there, but I ended up going there, and it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't a basketball school. You know what I mean? It was a good school, but it wasn't a basketball school. But I was able to play on that team, and I was able to just like really like showcase all my talent because I was obviously like the best player on the team. So I was able to just go score, gain my confidence, and then I did some camps in the summertime, and then some coaches noticed me, I was gonna transfer. I was gonna transfer to Eastern or West Hill. Those were my two choices. I chose West Hill because it was still in Scarborough. So I'm a Scarborough guy. I want to stay. I
Uh-huh.
want to stay in Scarborough.
So I feel like Sav's gonna be chirping you about this for so long.
Just throw that in there, just like a little Scarborough thing, right?
Yeah.
Continue.
West Hill just opened my eyes to a whole different type of like work ethic. Like the guys were hoopers. I'm not gonna say it was a basketball school because that's probably not politically correct, but like we were playing basketball a lot. We were practicing in the morning, we were practicing after school. The regiment was just a little bit, it was ramped up. It was ramped up. It was more of I didn't know then, but after going to college, it was more of like a college style of, program. So that, fortunately, even though it was tough, it was hard to adjust. It prepared me for university. So once I got to university, well, IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, I was prepared, right? So I went in there, and yeah, I went in there as a freshman. They told me I was gonna be like ninth, 10th man on the bench, like in the preseason, and training camp started, and I started my first game. I took that spot, and then I never looked back. I never looked back. We won 3 conference championships, went to national championship. Sophomore year, had the best record in school history, 33-3. My senior year, I was player of the year in our conference. I was an All-American. And yeah, we won the conference that year as well. So I ended up having a really good career. It was a D2. The goal was obviously to go D1, but I couldn't. I had one credit, a grade 9 math. Grade 9 math, I took applied math, right? And they wouldn't let me go back and take it. So I had 1 or 2 D1 offers, but I couldn't clear clearinghouse. So it was either go to JUCO or go to this D2. And I'm like, I just heard so many horror stories about JUCO. Like, so I'm just like, at least this is like a school. It's a reputable school. It's a known school. And I went there, but honestly ended up being the perfect fit for me. So I have honestly no regrets. Sometimes you go to D1, you go to a big school and you kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to be like a bigger fish in a smaller pond, and I was able to get recognized. I was able to develop, and I was able to play. That was the biggest thing for me. I just wanted to play. I didn't want to, have to be sitting on the bench or doing things like that. I just wanted to actually get out there and get the experience, and I got to play. I think I probably averaged like the most minutes in 4 years at that school, so I got a chance to play.
Congratulations. That's a massive accomplishment. And just even hearing about and seeing all the different awards you won, like it really does seem like that was a really great fit for you. And I'm happy that worked out.
And that place will always be special in my heart, man. That's I'm a Hawk for life. That's that. I'm a Hawk for life. I still talk to my coach regularly. Still stay in contact with some of the guys that are there now, the younger guys, just trying to give them some advice. Yeah, so
I also feel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm done.
I also feel that like at one point people don't realize this. I feel like, but at one point, getting a scholarship to the States and Canada was not common at all. Like it's almost unheard of.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I come from a generation of basketball players myself, and like it was really hard for like their generation to get seen because there was, simply put, no exposure. Coaches wouldn't even come up to Canada. And so I feel like your generation was like maybe one of the first generations, not to date you or not to like put an age on it, but like, maybe you were one of the first generations to kind of get that exposure and start to have that funnel down to the States. And so even though you're like playing D2, which is absolutely no shame about it, because D2 can be very, very competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And also like big fish, small pond, like as long as you're having fun, as long as you're playing the game, that's all that really matters.
And getting so much exposure too.
Yeah. And honestly, my coach was a coach at Pitt for 9 years. So we had a lot of connections. So like our preseason schedule, we played Syracuse, Pitt, Wake Forest, Florida State, Notre Dame, I think we played. We went down to Maryland, Georgia Tech, but we played a lot of like big time high major schools in the preseason. So that was, I know some schools, some lower D1s, their schedule doesn't even have schools like that on their schedule. So I still got exposed to like high level, and then playing in the playoffs, playing in the tournament every year, just that different level of pressure was that's what you want to play for, right? You want to play when it counts. So we got to play. I played in the tournament every single year, played in the playoffs every year. So it was beautiful for me.
And, I'm so curious, and Savanna, I know we're going to probably get back around to this full circle moment, but just before we get into that, it seems like you've really been able to just travel all around the world with the sport, and basketball is just taking you everywhere. So have you been able to really like reflect on this journey, and what have you picked up? What have you learned from this journey? Like, what are some really key points, key moments, as Savanna mentioned too, that really just like shaped this whole journey for you?
Honestly, just being in all these different countries and just realizing how blessed really like I am and like how everybody is in Canada, because playing in Colombia, playing in Indonesia, traveling to Venezuela to playing in all these countries, you realize that it's not like Canada all over the world, right? And these guys, people are just happy with what they have, and you see like they find joy in things that are not material, which most people in North America, we strive for that material, those are material things for happiness, but they don't have it and they're still happy. So just being around, just being really like immersed in the cultures that I always try to like go to do like help with kids or like go to camps, go watch some like youth games and stuff, just trying to be involved in like what's happening, learn the language, eat local foods, things like that. Just trying to, try and just understand like where I am. I think it's I won't say, I don't know another word, but rude. Like when players go to different countries and they just like don't want to like be involved in anything that's happening in that country. Just want to eat burgers, fries, and not really try anything. But everywhere I went, I tried to just be cool with the people that were there and just try and learn a little bit more about their culture.
Absolutely. Basketball can take you so far, and like you could have experiences that otherwise people would pay so much money to have. So yeah, you might as well make the most out of it and immerse yourself with the culture. Sorry, Selena, were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say you got me at food, and I was like, okay, so what do you recommend in all these places you're going to? Because I'm trying to travel like as soon as I can. Do you have like a specific place that you've traveled to with basketball that you're like the food was just incredible and you have to go try like local food when you go there?
Local food and just the whole vibe in general, like Indonesia.
Oh yeah.
For a few months, and that place with like the food, just the culture, just the scenery, like everything about that country. It's just beautiful. I mean, oh, you guys should go there. Everybody should take a visit to Indonesia and just like go explore, get to Bali, get to Surabaya, get to Jakarta, like the major cities, and there's also like smaller cities. They're just like, it's just dope, man. It's just dope, and everybody's just so pleasant. Everybody wants to help you. It's really a cool place.
Something I was also curious about, you brought up, just like the people in different places in the world. And I'm really curious to know what the fans are like when you play in different countries, because, in Toronto, or even especially the last 905 game, fans were on their feet. They were excited. They were nervous. You had us going. What are the fans like when you travel around the world? Are they just as excited? Are they even more excited because they don't get to see this as often? What does that look like?
They're crazier. They're way crazier. I mean, in Europe, especially, these teams have been around for like years, like 60, 70 years. So it's more than it's like a tradition, right? Like your home team, the city you're from, whatever sport, basketball, soccer, there's a passion for your team in these places, which is, you can see that with the Raptors now, right? Like Toronto people, like we love the Raptors and we're going to ride for the Raptors. So it's kind of similar, but just like even more passion, because it's like 50, 60, 80 years this club has been around. So there's just generations and generations of fans. And then in Asia, like they're just like fanatics. They just love basketball. Like I remember after games, there'd be like 300 people outside like waiting for my autograph. And I'm just like,
wow,
this has never happened to me before. I felt like it felt like that was like the closest I guess you could feel like being in the NBA. Like people just waiting for you, like little kids like actually like crying like Smith, like they just say your last name, right?
Oh, my heart.
Yeah, it's just like that was just dope for me. Just somebody actually wants my autograph like that badly, and they have like T-shirts with my face on it and stuff. It was just,
oh my goodness, that's incredible.
That was crazy. It was great. I wasn't expecting it, but great experience.
That's amazing. That's like, I don't know, like people don't realize how big basketball is sometimes like around the world in these other markets. And I always talk about the women's game as well and just how big it is outside of North America too. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the Raptors, and I do want to start to turn the conversation to that direction because we do got to touch on that. This is the Raptors 905 official podcast. Plug. What's your earliest Toronto Raptors memory? Do you remember your first game?
I don't remember the exact first game, but it was in the Sprite Zone. It was definitely,
Sprite
yeah, it
Zone.
was. We went to $10 tickets. I think like 20 of us went. I can't remember if it was school or it was like I don't remember, but maybe a group from like my neighborhood. Like somebody took us to a game, and it was just like so exciting. Just going in there, like going into the arena, like walking up the stairs, just being so high up at that time, and just looking at the floor. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, and just seeing Vince Carter, dunking, and it's just like the purple, the black,
Mhm.
The
back in the day,
purple.
yeah, the purple and black back in the day, the Raptor, it was just different, it was
Were you rocking with it? Were you rocking with the purple and the black back then, or because people like they ride with it now? It's like
yeah.
almost
Back
like a
then,
whole.
not really. Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it. I liked the two-tone when they had the purple and the black.
Mhm.
I liked that jersey. Those, and I like the pinstripes too. You have to like the pinstripes,
Pinstripe. That's so nostalgic. I can't.
But I think the Raptor at first for a lot of people was like a Raptor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But now it's like it's the Raptors. It's
Well,
we're
even in the
Did
States, like people are rocking Raptor stuff everywhere. And like
Yeah.
I like especially the purple. Like people love the purple. Finally.
T-Mac, the number one T-Mac throwback. That's like that's a jersey that everybody wanted to have back in the day for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Mm.
when it first came out, people were like looking at it funny, be like, or like, well,
Yeah.
you went with a Raptor. Like, it doesn't even have like anything to go with like the word Toronto. Like,
Right.
typically, like it would be a T and a T or something like that. Like maybe like I don't know, Toronto Tigers or something like that. Not that's an awful one, but like it would have something to do with something. Maybe even the original Huskies or something like that. But
True.
the Raptors is very left field. Let's touch on the full circle moment because we really do need to get to it. You're back home. You're with the 905. You were a player and now you're a coach. First of all, what did it feel? What was your emotions when you entered the building this past week, this time wearing a coach's hat instead of a player's uniform?
It was, man. I actually had a chance to come back and like shoot in the night, and when the floor was down before we actually had practice, and I just stood there for like a few minutes, like, wow, this is crazy. You look up, you see the banner with the inaugural season. It's just like, wow, like this is crazy. Now I'm coaching. I don't know. It's hard to explain, to put into words, but it's I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's dope. It's just a dope feeling that I can be back here after playing here and now kind of give my advice, my experiences to some of the guys that are on the team here.
How did it come to be? Like, how did it come to fruition? I'm kind of curious on both fronts, actually. How did it come to fruition as you as a player in the inaugural season, and then later on now as a coach?
So as a player, I just went to the open tryout. I went to the open tryout and I got invited to camp. And then I just like worked my butt off in camp, man. I don't know. I was on a mission. I was just obviously not one of the main guys. I was just a guy for camp. I don't think I was supposed to make the team, to be honest.
Really?
I tell you that. I think
Wow.
and I don't know. I just worked hard. I played defense. I did the things that most guys don't want to do, and I'm cool with that. I just want an opportunity to get on the team, and fortunately enough, Coach Mermis and Dan Tolzman, who was our GM, then they gave me a spot on the team, and the rest is history. Although I didn't play much, I didn't play much that year, but I was still there. I was a part of the team for the entire season, and I just learned a lot just about basketball, and then just like the business of basketball, and just like the coaching, how coaching really works at this level. Because Nate Mitchell was assistant coach at the time, and he's one of the guys that I worked out with when I was playing. We worked out together like every summer. We worked out every day. We were in the gym. So me not playing that much, I took that time to kind of like be closer to him and kind of watch what he's doing. Like, what are you doing? You're watching film. You're doing scouts. You're doing this. So that was kind of where the coaching idea kind of clicked for me in my head, like that season, to be honest. Because yeah, I was just around Nate, around DG, around Jesse, around all the coaches. Tim Lewis was here, and I just kind of picked their brain and just kind of tried to learn more about the game, and that transition led to here, I guess.
And I think too, it's so cool being, a Toronto native and being able to, first of all, be a part of the inaugural season for the 905, and that's so exciting. That was actually my first year too, and it was just like the G League. Like, what is this? I think it was called the D League back then as well. It was D League, not G League. And just being a Toronto native, like, how do you feel? Like, what does it mean to you to be not only a part of, the first Canadian G League team, but now also to be coaching? What does that mean to you and, your talent and the people around you?
I mean, honestly, I won't lie to you. To me, it's just basketball. Like, I'm just happy to be like playing basketball and now coaching basketball. But I guess from the feedback I've been getting, a lot of people around the city that like it's a big deal for them. But honestly, I didn't really look at it as a big deal. But now I'm kind of reflecting. I'm like, it is pretty big deal. I actually played. I'm coaching and I'm from here. So I mean, I just want to set a good example for whoever else is watching, and like some guys who might not know what their next step is, guys that used to play, like you can always go into coaching, right? There's avenues that you can go into. And now being here, just learning like so much more. Like it's not just coaching or playing, it's not just, there's like so many jobs that you guys do, like SAF does, like there's so many opportunities to like work in basketball that I don't think a lot of people really know, to be honest. I don't think they really understand. So just kind of just spreading that knowledge and kind of just trying to give avenues.
Yeah, I think it can totally like inspire generations to follow suit and know that like, okay, Ashton did it and he's from here and now look where he is. He like, look at his journey. It's quite inspiring.
Right.
Yeah, Ashton, I'm kind of curious because, I've heard nothing but amazing things, and having the opportunity to have worked with Raptors front office a few times, myself as on a producer end of things. I'm curious from your experience, what's it like for you to be a part of Raptors family?
It's amazing. Who doesn't want to be a part of the Raptors family? Raptors are, world renowned. Like everybody knows, like MLSC, the Raptors are like a high level organization, and it's just somewhere that you want to be. You know what I mean? So like being just involved in that, being able to like wear this Raptors on my chest, Raptors 905, be affiliated is something that I hold value, and I know the value in it. So I'll never take it for granted.
And, with Canada basketball having just like more talent than ever now, we also have our domestic league, CEBL. What do you think the future of basketball looks like going forward, especially in Canada?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Even like I went to a couple high school games last weekend or during the week, and man, the talent coming up is just like it's crazy. They're more athletic, they're longer, they're more skilled. You gotta find a little heart in them a little bit maybe, but like the skill level, the talent level, the athleticism, the physical build is just like it's evolution, right? It's evolution. It's on clear display when you watch these kids play. And just I think there's 22 Canadians in the NBA right now. I think it's something like that. And that's just like
that seems mind blowing to me, honestly.
It seems like a small number, but like coming from like our era, that's like we had Jamal McGlure, we had Steve Nash. Todd McCullough. I like, you know what I mean? It's hard to like grasp names of Canadians that were in the NBA, but now it's like it's a whole. Yeah. So just the evolution of the game is clearly evident. You know what I mean? Hopefully we have this window coming up. Hopefully we can win and like put the national team and that FIBA scene on the scene. You know what I mean? And really take that next step.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm always impressed by the fact that Canada, I believe they still hold the record for the amount of quote unquote international players in the NBA. And we continue to increase that number as it goes on with the years. But, I want to bring it back to the 905 real quick, just before we let you go. I want to ask what your expectations of the 905 are this season.
We want to win a championship. I don't think that's a secret. I think you play to win a championship, and just play hard and just get better. Get better every game to game, just get better. I think if we're getting better as a staff, players are getting better as players, we're getting better as a team. At the end of the season, I think the results will show that the work was put in. So just continuing to work. I mean, we have a great group. Like the guys, they really work hard, man. They really do. Like I will applaud them on that. Training camp was tough, and these guys, they came to work every day with their hard hats, and they worked, they listened. And I mean, it showed in those first two games. He came out with two wins, and I just want to shout out the coaching staff as well. Coaching staff, we work hard. We work really hard. And as a player coming here now, as a coach, you just see the the difference. I didn't know coaches did all this. I won't lie to you. I didn't know. So like my appreciation for all my coaches, you know, from throughout the years, I appreciate you. Sorry if I gave you a hard time while I was playing, but yeah, coaching staff, man, elite coaching staff, really hard workers, from coach all the way down to me being, I guess, the newest guy. Like I'm learning a lot from them. So it's a great journey so far.
That's incredible. It's really cool to see the appreciation that you have as a player now for coaches being like, I know now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, Sav, I don't know if we have time for one last question.
I mean, go ahead if you have one last one.
Yeah, I genuinely just wanted to congratulate you on being a new father and being a coach now, and, you know, being a player before. It's a lot of excitement, and we wanted to just wish you congratulations. I actually went to school with Cairo's mom. So I get to see little pictures of him on Instagram, and he's beautiful. And I'm sure you guys have your hands full, but congratulations. And I hope that your coaching journey and your fatherhood journey go, you know, so smoothly, and you learn all the things.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. And you guys are doing an amazing job too, man. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. All right. Take care.
All right, man. You guys have a good one.